when you overlay that checklist, those three things, and it's not like you can have two of the three. You must have all three. So you must love it, you must be good at it, and it must have a positive financial return to you and your company. It actually really limits where what you're going to be focusing in on. And we recommend spending 60 to 70% of your time as an owner, and even with your teams underneath, in your genius zone. So what this means is that if you're going to be true to that, you must fire yourself from other activity.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Millennial Mastermind, the personal development community for entrepreneurial millennials looking for the tools, tactics, and inspiration to create a business and a life of abundance. Today, I am very excited to welcome Matt Malouf to the Mastermind. Matt is a business coach, entrepreneur, speaker, author, and podcast host on a mission to help entrepreneurs around the world break the shackles of mediocrity and reach new levels of personal and business success. His coaching program has helped more than 1,000 clients add millions of dollars in revenue without adding pressure on internal resources. His framework helps entrepreneurs address their most crucial needs and build thriving businesses that give them more certainty, more profit, and ultimately more freedom for the things that really matter in life. Matt, that mission aligns really well with what we're doing here at the Millennial Mastermind, so I'm excited to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a great conversation here just based on my personal interest, the things that me and the audience of the Millennial Mastermind are working on in our lives, and the things that you're truly an expert on. And so I would love just to kick it off by understanding what your role is as an entrepreneurial coach and really how you got started in that space.
Yeah, so I see my role as helping business owners and entrepreneurs achieve their goals faster, to put it really simply. I had the good fortune and made a calculated decision 2 weeks before I opened my first business to engage a coach. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made because it really did fast track me to the success that I achieved in the short, medium, and long term. And so how I got into coaching, it's an interesting journey. I started my initial training and career in accounting. Quickly worked out that sitting in front of a computer looking at numbers all day wasn't my thing. And I had a huge desire to want to help people. I went into the fitness industry and set up a personal training studio where we employed, a couple of dozen trainers. We helped over 500 people every single week, and my passion was helping people live a better life. And then when I was looking for the next thing for me, it was like, well, my two passions were helping people live a better life and business. So I naturally merged the two together and started business coaching and mentoring, and have now done that for the last 8 years, which is it's very, very fulfilling. It's very cliche, but I say I don't feel like I've worked for the last 8 years.
Yeah, that's a cool story. And so you mentioned in some of what I read up on you before this interview that you work with a lot of lifestyle businesses. Is that the primary segment of business coaching that you work within? And can you help just define what a lifestyle business means to you?
Yeah, so when we talk about lifestyle business, it's actually helping entrepreneurs understand that their business is there to serve them, not for them to serve their business. And so it's not that laptop lifestyle kind of travel the world with a laptop and that kind of lifestyle business. What we help entrepreneurs do, and this is across, I think I worked it out the other week, we've worked with 65 different industries, in multiple countries around the world. It's really about helping them understand and choosing the right business model for them that aligns what they want to achieve in business, but also what they want to achieve in their life. and merging those two together. And that's one of the most exciting things I love about business, is that there's no one size fits all. I was being interviewed earlier today, and one of the things, like in my business at the moment, I'm choosing to work less simply for the fact that I've got a young family, and my focus, I want to spend more time with them. And so I've reshifted my entire business model over the last 15 months to now enable me to have that freedom. And that's the thing I help entrepreneurs do. I help them understand, okay, you want to be in this business and you want this life. How do we merge the two together?
So what are the types of questions then when you're first engaging with your clients that you ask to really help both yourself and them understand really where the business and the life merge?
So one of the primary questions is why this business and why now? I often ask, why did they choose this business and why now? But more importantly is, okay, well, if money wasn't an object, let's say they had financial freedom or financial success, how would you choose to spend your days, and what would you want to be doing? What would you want to be achieving in your life? And I often start there, because you reverse engineer your business success to achieve your life success. Whereas most people will focus on their business success and then go, oh, by the way, I want to live a life. I want to travel for 3 months of the year, or I want to pick the kids up from school, and then have to try and re-engineer everything, which is a lot harder than setting the intention from the start.
So if somebody's at home right now and they're listening to this and they're trying to figure out kind of what that business looks like for them, and they start to ask themselves, why this business, why now? Are there specific things that they should be thinking about that can help point them in the right direction and really get them off on the right foot?
Yeah, I think a few things there is one is, when you ask the question of why this business, you've got to dig beyond to make money. If you don't have a passion for what you do, it'll be very, very short-lived. And I'm all for. I think too often the talk around money is softened. There's absolutely nothing wrong with making a lot of money. In fact, it helps buy you a degree of freedom, but it's getting clarity on what that is for you and aligning it with your passion in your business. Because, the reality is, growing any company, it has its challenges, and it's tough. It is tough. And unless you've got that drive and passion that sits underneath, I believe that's one of the primary reasons a lot of business fails. Second thing is, I think you've got to get clarity on how do you want your days, weeks, and months, and quarters, and years to look in your business. And while you may not be able to achieve that in the short term, it's working towards that. What do I mean by that? I made the decision years ago that I wanted to take 10 weeks off a year, primarily around school vacation time. And it took me 3 years to work to that level, because most people would sacrifice their earnings, and mine was, I want to have 10 weeks off a year and earn $1 million a year. How do I do that? And I went to task on finding the answers and finding the right model and finding the people who are living the dream that I aspire to live, and implemented what they told me, or I implemented what they were doing, and created that life for myself. But without getting the clarity on, say, and that was just one aspect, was the 10 weeks off. I think I would have just gone into the business and started getting clients and working, and then worked out later on that, hey, I need a break. How am I going to get this, etc.
Yeah. And just out of curiosity, what did that business model end up looking like?
So that was, I did that initially with the fitness studio. And so I made it very clear to myself that I needed to put that under management. And The great thing with that business was I got to a point where I was only working in the business a day and a half a week. And the functions that I had could be done. I didn't actually physically need to be in the business. I could do them from anywhere. So that was, that was the first time I did it. The second time was when I started the coaching and mentoring 8 years ago. As a coach or mentor, you can quickly fill your calendar with appointments and have to, be stuck, either traveling or in other people's offices or behind your computer, coaching day in, day out. So I made a very clear decision that I was only going to do, 3 days a week face to face, and that I wasn't going to see people on a weekly basis. So that meant that I could have flexibility. And that we created a model which meant that pretty much every quarter, I was only seeing clients once in that month, which gave me freedom to have a couple of weeks off. And we reverse engineered the business around the life that I wanted versus reverse engineering my life around the business, if that makes sense.
It does, because I could see, especially in the coaching space, for example, how that can get very quickly if you bring on a lot of weekly clients, and then a year later or 6 months later you decide that you want to get out of that model and have more flexibility. All of a sudden you're trying to back yourself out of these agreements or situations that you didn't necessarily think through in the beginning. So it makes perfect sense. I think that it's a smart approach. And then also, as you were talking through what you were doing within the fitness business to give yourself flexibility and only really working a day and a half a week in that, it reminded me of something else that I've heard you talk about, and that's firing yourself from certain areas of your business. So would you mind talking about what that means to fire yourself?
Yeah. So this stems off the book that I wrote called The Stop Doing List. And what we talk about in the book is defining what we call your genius. Your genius are those activities or tasks that you love doing, that you do really, really well, that have a positive financial return for you and your company. And when you overlay that checklist, those three things, and it's not like you can have two of the three, you must have all three. So you must love it, you must be good at it, and it must have a positive financial return to you and your company. It actually really limits where what you're going to be focusing in on. And we recommend spending 60 to 70% of your time as an owner, and even with your teams underneath, in your genius zone. So what this means is that if you're going to be true to that, you must fire yourself from other activities. I'll give you an example. I mentioned earlier that I'm a trained accountant. I've owned businesses now for almost, I think I'm in my 18th or 19th year, and I have never done the bookkeeping in any of my businesses. Even though I'm more than qualified, I'm a full chartered accountant. I'm more than qualified to doing it. It's one of those tasks that when I look at my hourly rate versus what I can invest in somebody else to do it, I couldn't justify myself doing it. Not only that, anytime I sat down, or I didn't even do it, anytime I thought of sitting down and doing bookkeeping, I get really anxious and frustrated, and I'm like, this is not what I signed up for. Yet my bookkeeper, she absolutely loves it. Like, she lives for data entry and making sure that everything's posted correctly, and so she's happy, I'm happy, and so it enabled. So I've effectively fired myself from that activity, that task. And to grow a successful company, you must be practicing that every single day, firing yourself, getting others to do things. Can we eliminate this from what we do? Can we automate this using some technology? Can I delegate this to somebody? And keep in mind, delegation, you don't need to employ people in order to delegate. With platforms like Freelancer and Upwork and those types of platforms, I absolutely love going on to Upwork and just delegating tasks, just a single task. Like I need something proofread. I outsource all of my PowerPoint presentation to somebody, and just on a needs basis. And so again, it's not that I can do all of these activities. It's just not a good use of my time.
Mm-hmm. What about somebody who's bootstrapping a business, just getting started, and they know bookkeeping's not in their wheelhouse, it's not in their genius zone, but they might not have the funds right now to go out and outsource that piece of the business? Any thoughts on that?
So firstly, I'd then employ some technology to streamline it. So we use Xero or MYOB. That software can streamline it to the point where you could spend less than an hour a month in doing your bookkeeping if it's set up properly. So that would be my recommendation. But I would challenge most people on the affordability aspect, because a lot of these tasks can be done for for a very reasonable hourly rate. Like I'm talking a fraction of what it would cost for you to do it yourself. So my belief around the money piece is it's more of a mindset than an affordability. There's plenty of money out there, and if I can save myself an hour that enables me to go and find a new customer, I'll more than pay for the person doing that task. And I've proven this time and time again with many, many clients over the years.
Mm. Yeah, that's a concept that they talk about in the book, The Millionaire Mindset, as well, where very successful people, they're looking at their time as their most precious resource, that if there's something that they can be doing that will achieve better results or is more valuable to them personally, then they're outsourcing that thing, whatever it might be. I mean, could be landscaping, that could be something with the business, but I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Another.
Sorry, I think it's developing that mindset muscle as well. I think one thing early stage entrepreneurs need to appreciate is that, it may feel a little scary or risky to leverage something, or my bank account's not flush with money at the moment, but the reality is that when you just start small, just start by simply outsourcing a task for a few dollars, and you'll go, wow, and then you'll outsource a few more tasks. And if you have that mindset, but you've got to, it's like lifting weights. You don't go into the gym and pick the heaviest weight and expect to be able to lift it on day one. You have to start small and build up to it. Leveraging and starting to delegate, etc. It's about building that muscle.
Mm. Yeah, I can absolutely see that. And kind of on that mindset track, are there other things within the mindset realm that you see frequently with early stage entrepreneurs that you have to work on with them to tweak their mindset to be more success oriented?
Yeah, one is around controlling everything. We often look at our business as our baby, and if I don't do it, someone might be able to do it as well as I can, or as fast as I can, or as effective as I can. Most of what we do in our businesses is not unique. It's very similar to most other businesses in across industries. It's not to say that there aren't unique things in different businesses, but most of what an owner does is not unique. And so adopting that mindset that I want to build a system and have others come in and do these tasks early on, I believe is critical. The other thing is that and I remember hearing this from a Tony Robbins audio that I listened to, that perfection is the lowest standard you can have, because it implies something can't be better. I find early stage entrepreneurs that are trying to get, whether it's their product perfect, their marketing perfect, their sales perfect, their operations perfect, they're often the ones that grow the slowest. It's the entrepreneurs that adopt that whole ready, fire, aim mindset of, okay, we're going to get something ready, to a point, and we're going to put it out there, and we're going to tweak and adjust and analyze and make it better as we go. And it's the speed to market that is critically important. I always say, if you're thinking about doing something, stop thinking and just do it, because inevitably that will get you a result. By doing nothing, you've already chosen your result from the start. So I think, letting go of perfection, and that's the same for when you delegate things to others. You didn't do it at the standard you do it now the first time you did something, and you need to be mindful of that when you start to ask others to do tasks for you. So they'd be the main things, I'd say.
I like that a lot, because those are things too that before you're in that ownership role, a lot of times in a more corporate job, it is your role to try to be perfect at what it is that you're working on, and having control of that small job or piece of the business. So that's definitely a shift that folks need to make, for sure.
Yeah.
One other thing that you talk about is this concept called the 500-40-30 formula. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah. So it's the more and more I've been working with entrepreneurs, commonly you'll ask, what's your goal? And the most common goal I would hear is, I want to earn $1 million a year. There's something about this $1 million earn per year.
Mm-hmm.
And I would ask the question, well, okay, if you were earning $1 million a year, what would you do with it? What would your life look like? What car would you drive, or what holidays would you go on, or what home would you live in, or what clothes would you wear? Just unpack what that looked like for them. What investments would they have? And the more and more I surveyed people, when we calculated the what they wanted, the travel, the home, the this, etc., for most of them, they could have all of that, earning $500,000 profit a year after paying themselves a wage. And what we then started to realize was that the freedom aspect of business became more important than earning more. And so what the 500-40-30 stands for is earn $500,000 net profit after paying yourself a wage, working 40 weeks of the year and only working 30 hours maximum per week. And that way then people had, because the other side of it on the 40-30 piece was that a lot of entrepreneurs don't have this aspiration to not work. They actually, the reason they start their business is because they have a deep passion for whatever it is that they do. It's not to say that they won't sell it one day, but they don't have this, most don't have a drive to build and sell and then build and sell again. They want to build and stay. And so what we worked out was, well, how do we increase their freedom aspect? And so the formula was, number one, helping people get clarity on what it is that they want on that. Like, what do they want to earn, or what do they want to earn? What do they want to? How much time do they want off each year, and what do their work weeks look like? And then building the model, the business model around their formula, and working from there. So to give you an example, I've got a client at the moment, and his formula is 800-40-20. And what we've created is a business his business is he's in a property development business, and so we've built the business so that it supports him that earning those numbers. And it took him 2 years, and he's 800 is over $1 million, but he's working 40 weeks of the year, and he's only working 20 hours a week and loving life. Now, the thing around this, the formula is the easy part. It's why do you want that? For him, it's about being able to, his dream life, he's waking up every morning, being able to go for a surf, being able to come home and have breakfast with his wife and kids, being able to go and sit in a coffee shop, then after dropping them to school, and have an hour of thinking time, just people watching or journaling or thinking. He then goes to his office, and he might have a meeting, he might have some certain things that he needs to do, and he wants to be able to finish work at 3:00 every day. And we've built the business around that, and it's magical to watch it happen.
And so how do you help your clients identify what the first part of that equation is for them, that 500 or 800, whatever the net profit needs to be to support their lifestyle, or their ideal lifestyle, I should say?
So and that comes down to asking them those questions. So if, where do you want to live? In what way? Do you want to travel? If so, how often, where, and in what manner? If we help them create their bucket list, and determine what are some of their life aspirations and goals. I asked them if they had a year that was like Groundhog Day, so it was a groundhog year, what would that year need to look like so that you loved it every single year? You know what I mean? So I know my groundhog year is to, do 2 overseas holidays a year, one of those to Fiji every year. It's one of my favorite places on the planet. We're heading there in 2 weeks' time. And I could do that every year for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? We'd like to go to Fiji once, somewhere else. We'd like to do one domestic driving holiday each year and explore somewhere new. I like to, be able to, attend my kids' sporting matches and their school, or what's going on at school for them. I like to be able to go on a date night once a fortnight with my wife. I like to be able to see our friends regularly. We just mapped out what is our ideal, that groundhog year. Like if nothing changed, but we wanted this life. And once you gain clarity on those things, you can actually equate value, a dollar figure to it as well, and then work that out from there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so clearly you've worked with a lot of clients. You've learned quite a bit about entrepreneurship, about mapping out your business and your life. If you could take the knowledge that you have now, hop in a time machine and go back and talk to yourself when you were just getting out of that miserable accounting career, short-lived as it may have been, is there one piece of advice that you would have given to yourself at that point before starting that personal fitness business?
Knowing what I now know, I would have set up a plan for passive income earlier. So I would have actually one of the books that changed my life that I probably read 3 years into my business career, which was The Richest Man in Babylon. That whole concept of taking 10% off the top and then investing it. So I would have set my goals around being able to invest earlier, and I believe I would have achieved greater financial freedom sooner, and not just financial freedom, but time freedom. Because as I've developed and grown, the beauty is that as you start to develop wealth and invest, you now have the option whether or not you do go to work in the do I need to still work, or to what level do I need to still work? So I don't have to work, I choose to work. And then that shifts the whole, I guess, fulfillment piece in what you do. So I think that I would have adopted an investment mindset a lot earlier, which I think would have fast tracked my business career, I believe.
I love that, and we'll make sure to have that book linked up in the show notes as well. But Matt, I know that this has been a great episode. I'm really excited to share this with the audience. Where can people go to find out more about you and what you're working on and what you have, what you're putting out in the world?
Excellent. Yeah. So we've got two main places. The first is www.wisdomcg.com.au. That's the Wisdom Consulting Group, the company that I own and run. You can go there, and we've got some free resources, and that tells you about who we are and what we do. The other one is you can go to www.stopdoing.com.au. That's the website for the Stop Doing This book, and you can purchase it there, or you can again, there's a free chapter to download, and there's some free resources that you can start to implement straight away.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we appreciate your generosity with the free chapter for the book, spending your time and sharing some of your wisdom with us here today. I think that a lot of this is going to be very helpful for those of us who are just kicking off our entrepreneurial journeys, to make sure that we're setting our businesses up in a way that is really going to serve our life, rather than set us up for just our life serving our business. So, Matt, thank you so much for being here today. This was a blast talking with you, and I'm glad we had a chance to connect.
Thank you very much.